welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we discuss many different subjects and topics in and around the University of Pikeville, on campus, in the community, and into the world. That's where those 99 steps lead. And we've got a special show today. We're talking about athletics at the University of Pikeville, and one of the newest sports at the University of Pikeville. And we'll try to educate you today on the archery program at the University of Pikeville. We're joined by coaches. First, Shane Hurt, head archery coach. Shane, welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
It's good to be here.
Let's learn a little about Shane Hurt and your background, where you come from, and how you got into this crazy thing called archery.
Yeah, originally from Hazard, Kentucky. Moved all around and finally settled back in here in Pikeville, and was the maintenance director for the local high school and started they have a National Archery in Schools program. Started that at the high school and kind of got that up and running from scratch. And when this program started, they needed a coach. I kind of was excited to kind of step into it at the college level.
Very good.
And try to get it started here and have some success like we did at the high school.
Where did you get your archery background? It's a new sport.
It is a new sport. I think the target archery is almost growing as fast as the hunting part of
Sure.
it. Since people are really getting into the target part, and it was just kind of part of growing up. You know, shoot a bow and arrow, shoot a rifle in the hunting part, and it's just getting into the competition part of it is really starting to take off.
I would
It's
imagine.
really growing quickly.
It's a quick growing sport.
Very
Shane Hurt, joined by Ellie Yoakum, assistant archery coach. And Ellie, welcome to Where the 99 Lead. Let's talk about where you come from, how you got here.
I'm from Frankfort, Kentucky. I went to University of Cumberland in Williamsburg for 4 years. It's where I got my degree in exercise sports science and public health. I shot there for 4 years, shot a lot of arrows, won a lot, walked away with 5 overall team national championships and a 4-time All-American. I started shooting when I was in high school, and when I was in college, I knew that I wasn't going to be happy unless archery was in part of my everyday life.
Sure.
So this is the perfect
And
fit.
sporting a national championship ring. Let's show it.
Yeah.
Let's show it. That's what it's all about right there. Is,
Can't wait to get me a coaching one.
national championship ring and multiple national championships at the University of Cumberland, and also an All-American shooter in archery as
Yeah.
well. You didn't start competing until high school. Had you shot a bow and arrow before that, growing up as a kid, a toy set, anything?
No.
Nothing.
None.
Wow.
Never. But
Interesting.
it's one of those things that once you pick it up, I took off with it really fast and found what I wanted to do when I was a freshman in high school.
We're going to learn more about archery today, how to coach the game, how to play the game, or shoot the match, as you will. I have to tell you, I've shot a few arrows in my day, and typically I miss badly. So perhaps I can get some tips as well. Shane, most coaches, when they take on a new coaching position, they inherit a program that's already been established. Archery's brand new at the University of Pikeville. What's that like?
It does have its challenges, you know, trying to get everything started from scratch because there's just nothing to kind of build from. But at the same time, it's kind of exciting because like you don't have those hurdles to overcome with. If you're a new coach and you're inheriting a program, then people are kind of established, so you kind of have to change some minds and get things done kind of the way you want them to be. But
Sure.
as a new program, you don't have to overcome those obstacles because there's no hurdles to overcome,
standards.
so you can kind of start it the way that you want to start it. Then there's some pressure with that too, because if it's very successful, then you've done good. But
Right.
if not, then it's all on you because then
Sure.
we're the ones that actually started it. So
Exactly. And starting a program, much like starting anything else, you've got to supply the program
Yes.
with equipment. You've got to find practice facilities where the matches are going to be, all of those things that go on
Yes.
with a new program.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about archery, the sport, because I think there are many that are tuned in today that had no idea archery was a competitive sport, outside of maybe seeing some sort of biathlon or something during the Olympics, and they may see a bow and arrow there. Let's talk about the sport of archery on the college level. What is a competition like?
There's 3 different seasons that we'll compete in. It's a 3D season where you shoot the 3D targets, you know, like the bears and the antelope and the deer. And then we'll have an indoor season, which is a lot of what you'll see in the Olympics with the recurve. So there'll be an indoor season, and then there's an outdoor season. So there's actually 3 different seasons that we'll compete in.
Right. College archery a little different than the high school archery that
Very,
some
very different.
may be accustomed to,
Yes.
because that has been in the high schools for a few
Yes,
years.
yes.
But that is just target shooting, is
Correct,
it not?
yes.
At the typical bullseye,
Yes.
and you get points for the
Yes.
bullseye shooting.
Yep.
The difference is already, I've noticed one, I want to clarify. 3D shooting, you're outdoors,
Mhm.
shooting at
From
bears,
Bears,
not
deer.
real animals,
No, they're not
ladies
real.
and
They're not
gentlemen.
real.
These are just
Yeah, don't call PETA.
targets.
They're not real.
And
No.
we want to make sure that those wildlife lovers
Yeah.
are not upset. These are just targets
Yes.
that appear to be
Yes.
those type of animals.
Yes.
But that's a difference. What about scoring?
It's much the same. Oh, it's kind of different. You'll shoot one arrow at the target, and then you'll move us. It's what we were talking about earlier. It's a lot like golf. You'll
Is
shoot
it
at one.
par?
You'll shoot at one target, then you'll move to the next target, then you'll move to the next target, and then people fall in behind you and just follow along.
What's the
in 3
distance
days.
we're shooting from?
There's 3 different. It depends on what kind of bow you're going to shoot. If you're shooting a recurve, the max distance you'll shoot is 30,
It's 30.
yards. If you're shooting a hunting bow setup, it's 40, and then with the open compound with the big long stabilizer bars, then that's 45. So that's all mixed up. It's all random distances.
And also, the first half of the tournament, the first 20 targets, you're gonna look and be like, "Oh, there's a deer," and then you're like, then you have to stand there and be like, "I wonder what it is."
It's an unknown distance.
And so you have to
don't
stand there,
any
and then
idea.
you have to be like, "Oh, it's 37.5 yards or whatever." Then
Sure.
you shoot it, and then you come back the second half, and then they're like, "That deer is 40 yards or whatever it is." So yeah, the
Just-
first half you have to pull a
to guess your
distance out
distance.
and be like, "That's what I think it is."
Very good. Who participates in archery at the college level? Men, women, co-ed, competing at the same time? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's
It's co-ed.
Yeah, it's co-ed. Yep.
So you have men, women. Do you have a men's team,
Yes.
a women's
Yes,
team,
and a mixed team.
and a mixed team as well?
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody competes.
How does scoring take place? On a team level, on an individual level?
It's all of it.
So, to get like your national champions, it's based off of a medal count. So, like if we have a men's compound win and get a gold medal, that's 1 point. And if you're tied, like let's say one team has 5 gold medals and the other team has 5 gold medals, but UPike has 2 silver, and the other team only has 5 gold and 4 bronze, UPike will win because we have more silver than they do.
Sure.
So it's just it's not based off of how many medals you win, but it's most gold and it goes to silver.
Points.
Yeah, so
Points for each of the types of medals. How do you earn medals?
you can win it off your individual class. So like there'll be like a men's compound, women's bow hunter, men's bow hunter, so on and so forth. And then there'll also be team shoots where it's like a men's bow hunter team, a women's bow hunter team, so on.
And the team is 3.
And the teams of 3.
Your team is 3.
And then there's also a mixed team where you take one men's bow hunter and one women's bow hunter, and you'll compete. So we have opportunities of, I believe, 11 different gold medals
Very good.
if we were to win all of them.
So you have specialists that are maybe particularly good shooters with a compound bow,
Yes.
but maybe not with the other types
Right.
of
Yeah,
bows.
yeah.
Someone
Yes.
may be good with
Yes.
a 3D type competition, but target competitions, maybe that's not their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have that a lot. Yeah, and some people are better with a recurve than a compound bow, and we can kind of gear them to where they'll be successful.
And the differences from high school to college, because I'm noticing some
Yes.
in the equipment as well.
Yes.
Talk
Very
about that,
different.
Shane. You've been there.
Yeah. The equipment in high school is very standardized. You have one specific bow,
Right.
one specific arrow, one specific target. Everything is the same. It's not only statewide, it's nationwide.
Sure.
And worldwide. They're in different countries now. So
Right.
once you get to high school, then it's whatever you're comfortable with. Some people want to shoot a Matthew, some people want to shoot a PSE. So they bring their own equipment, and they can have whatever kind of bow they want.
Right.
Like my bow is completely different than Shane's bow. I don't
Yeah.
think he would want to shoot my hot pink bow,
No,
but
that
you know,
doesn't
But
suit me very
But
well.
it's about more than just colors too.
oh
Yes.
yeah, it's more just about colors.
It's a style of bow. It's a brand of bow. It's everybody's so different. They pick out their own and they bring their own, and
Right.
that's what they compete with.
High school standardized, everybody uses the same.
Yes.
and you're shooting from the same
Yes,
distances
every time.
at the targets
Yep.
every time. I would imagine that while that's difficult, because I've tried
It
it,
is difficult.
not very good at it,
It
that's
is
very
difficult.
difficult. It takes an extreme amount of skill.
Yes, absolutely.
But changing bows, changing differences, changing distances, changing the type of targets.
Yes.
Ellie, you've been there as a player.
It's it's challenging, but it's one of those things. Once you do it for like a month or whatever, like you get used to it. I mean, if the same principle of archery is all the same through all the bows. It's just you have to change little things. Like your back muscles still do the same thing.
Sure.
Your abs, your arms all still do the same thing, but you're just shooting something else. So you're not having to like train your muscles to change that much.
Train your mind, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah, it's a big
mental
mental
game.
sport.
You talk about the 3D and talk about you have to judge distances. Are you on your own? Is there help? Are you able to practice? Are you able to see the course ahead of time? Do the courses change?
They
cour-
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we might have a target, we might have a bedded buck at 22 yards at regionals, but we might not even see the bedded buck at nationals. Like I know for sure at nationals we're going to see buffalo, but I know for sure we won't see buffalo at regionals. So every course is different.
Distances,
Random.
likewise.
It's just random.
As a team competition, as an individual competition, because you've got both going on at the same time, on a course that you're not having a chance to practice on, as you travel that course, seeing particular animal targets or not,
Yep.
how close is your nearest competitor, teammate, coaches? Is there coaching? Is there help available? Are you able to follow someone else and what they've seen?
That you follow someone else. They're pretty spaced out. They're pretty far apart, but there's no help. You have to do it all. That's all on your
Yeah.
own, and there's no. I know there's. Back in the day when people shot in competitions, they would kind of step it off and kind of help the next person along in line. You know, they'd say that's
Sure.
about 20 yards. But
Uh-huh.
you're pretty separate, so there's no. You're all on your own.
Brings a new element.
Yeah.
It does. You're all
Because
on your own.
when I was competing, I could go an hour and a half without seeing my coach. Like
Wow.
I'd just be out there shooting. Like I would know that if I needed something, like I could get to him. But there were times where I wouldn't see him because he could be on one side of the range, I could be on the completely different side of the range, and just never see him.
Sure.
And it wasn't because of lack of him caring. It's just logistics of it.
Sure.
We can't be with 16 people at the same time when
Right.
they're all spread out.
So the coaching aspect is typically preparation.
Yes, that happens before you go to a
Before you ever
competition.
get there,
Yeah.
there's not much coaching goes on
Right.
once a match or meet begins.
Right.
You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. Today we talk about one of the newest sports at the University of Pikeville, archery. And as you can tell, I'm interested, and I would imagine we have a lot of folks tuned in that are as well, because it is so new. There are new elements, new rules, new equipment, these aspects that we're trying to bring along to you. Joined by Shane Hurt, head archery coach, and Ellie Yoakum, a national champion as a player, looking for that first national championship ring as a coach of an up-and-coming program here at the University of Pikeville. Archery is here. Shane, we've talked about the popularity, the growth of the sport at the high school level in Kentucky. Why is it so popular?
I think the main thing is because anybody can do it, and it's like an element. It's a group of kids, and there's an element that they maybe don't like basketball or football or baseball,
Sure.
but they can do this. They can do archery because if they can pull the bow back, which they will be able to, and can focus, not only can they do it, they can be tremendously successful at it. So I think it's just an open door for just anybody to be able to do.
Right, and you've coached at the high school level. Ellie, you began shooting in high school, so you started later in life. Shane, your experience as a high school coach, did you see those kids maybe that had been in the woods and been bow hunting
Yep.
as youngsters, and now they're able to compete with those skills did you see those kids, or was this just students that had never done this before and wanted to try it.
That's the interesting part, is it was a pretty good mix of both. You'll see that a lot. You had a lot of kids that love to hunt and have shot a bow their whole life, and then you also see that. You see kids that have never touched a bow.
Yeah.
Right.
You see it's an interesting kind of mix. I guess that's why it's so popular. It's kind of a mix that fits everybody.
But
and you see
for
that.
those that maybe love the outdoors and
Yes.
have spent that time
Yes.
hunting, but they're not the kind that are in the driveway shooting basketball,
Right. Right.
or maybe not that. Maybe they don't have the abilities. Maybe they don't
Yes.
have the interest
Right.
in those
Yeah.
sports.
Right.
This is something they can take an
Yes.
interest in. I would imagine they excel.
Yes.
And
Oh
you
yeah.
don't, you don't
most
have
often,
to be
yeah.
athletic. I'm 5'10" and the shortest in my family. And you would looking at when I'm standing up, you think, oh, she plays basketball, she plays volleyball.
Sure.
And people ask me all the time, I'm like, no, I just shoot archery, coach archery, whatever. They're like, oh my goodness, you should be a basketball player. But I mean, I could have been on the basketball court if I really wanted to, but I just knew that archery was my
Not your thing.
Not my basketball was not my thing.
Right.
They
Very
didn't want
good.
to see me out there.
And I would imagine those that maybe have grown up bow hunting, they may have never shot a curved bow, which the high school uses.
Yeah, that standard
Because-
bow. Yeah, they've probably not shot that if they've been hunting.
Yeah, but it's very similar to the type that high school uses
Mm-hmm. Yes.
as a standard bow.
Yeah, it's like she had talked about, the motions are still the same form. There's just there's basics of archery that you have to use regardless of what bow you put in your hands. So
Right.
a lot of that kind of transfers over.
Let's talk about practice. You guys have practice coming up in just a little bit as we record this program. What's on the agenda? What will practice schedule be like today?
Today's gonna be a fun
today's gonna be a
day.
good one.
Today's
yeah,
a fun day.
Today's
Yeah.
gonna be a good day.
I asked at the right time.
You did. We've got the entire 3D range set up, and we're gonna get a score from them for the first time this season. So we're gonna let them shoot at each target, and we're gonna not tell them the distance. They're gonna go through the whole course,
Sure.
and then they're gonna come back through. And then we're gonna tell them what the distance was and let them shoot it again, and we're gonna collect a score and kind of see where we stand. This will be the first time we've done this, so it should be interesting.
Have you tried it?
No, not today.
Ellie?
I have not.
You're a
today.
shooter. Have you
Yeah.
tried it?
Not today.
I
we
haven't
have
shot
not.
this particular range, but I've been shooting it every week.
I would imagine distance, perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's easy for someone who shoots regularly, but judging distance, I know it's similar to golfers on a golf course.
Yep.
You don't have someone telling you exactly, while they have range finders and
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
they can try to determine distance, but it makes a big difference in the type of shot that's made.
It really does.
I mean,
yeah,
if
that's-
you're 5 yards off,
That's-
instead of you hitting that 10 ring, you might be going right underneath the belly into the wood, into
Sure.
the,
You can
into
miss
the
the whole
woods.
target,
Like,
yeah.
Have you done that?
heck yeah.
We're
I've put
talk-
arrows in trees before,
There
but that's
you
just
go.
part of the name of the game. Like,
There you
it only gets you better.
Sure. We're talking archery at the University of Pikeville, one of the newest sports there, and we talk about the different types of competition seasons. 3D is
Yes.
one. What are the others?
Indoor
Indoor?
and then outdoor
Okay.
with the big targets.
Indoor, I would imagine, is a strictly target
Yes.
type competition. When does it take place?
It'll start right after 3D season. I think it'll start.
We have a tournament in January.
You have a tournament in January. It'll be
So
the
it's
first
the
one.
winter.
Yeah,
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's the
Makes
winter.
You gotta
sense.
can't shoot out in the snow.
Sure.
I mean, you can, but
Yeah.
It's the winter.
But winter sport, you're indoor with targets.
Yes.
And where do those meets take place?
we have one in Madisonville.
Yeah, there's one in Madisonville, and then if we qualify, there's actually one in Las Vegas. If
Okay.
we have kids that can qualify for that.
And it's in conjunction with the NFAA archery shoot. It's in Vegas, and it's like the biggest
It's the
archery
biggest.
shoot ever. And we call it the Super Bowl of archery. Like, all your professionals are there. I qualified last year and went. It was literally, take the whole being in Vegas part out of it, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Like,
Right.
sitting there, like, as a little archery nerd, I'm like, oh look, there's Rio or Sarah, whoever walking by. It was just super cool.
Sure. But on the high school level, this is similar. For those that have experienced high school archery, is this something that they could relate to?
Yeah, it's closer to what they would
Okay.
relate to. Yes. Yes,
High
much
school,
closer.
standardized bow. The indoor season, shooting at targets on the college level. Standardized bow, bring your own.
Bring your
Bring your
own.
own.
Bring your own.
Wow.
And you're shooting at targets like this big.
Yeah.
And you have 3 of them, so you one here, one here, one here. You're putting one in the center.
Shoot
You're
one
trying.
arrow at each target.
So this is not a 4-foot bullseye.
Oh, this
that
is like
progressively
this is
is
like an
small.
8-inch little, and you're trying to hit it something like the size of a dime.
Uh-huh.
And there's 3 of them on each target face, and you shoot one arrow at each one.
So instead of the large targets, I'm trying to paint a picture for those that are tuned in. We're talking cantaloupe,
Yeah.
Yeah, close.
and then put a nickel
That's pretty
Yeah,
in the
close.
middle
Yep.
of the cantaloupe.
Yes, it's pretty close.
And that's the target.
Mhm.
How often are they hit?
All the time.
Very.
How many archers could split arrows hitting the same spot over and over?
That's why you shoot 3 different spots so you don't split
so you
arrows.
don't split arrows.
That's the reason,
That's the
because that
whole
does
that's the whole
happen.
reason.
And there are competitors that are that good.
Oh
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are.
Wow.
They are.
I feel sorry for the
Absolutely.
animals in the woods come bow season. We're talking archery at the University of Pikeville, and I'm loving this show because I'm learning so much about it. I want to know about the meets. Indoor season, outdoor season, and then 3D season. 3D I've got a little bit of an idea about. Indoor, I'm perfectly familiar with. Outdoor season, what's it about?
It's. I guess it's pretty much it's very similar to the indoor season, except for it's outdoors. It's on a big open field.
Targets.
The targets are the big
Yeah,
round targets with the big huge faces. You shoot from much further away.
Okay.
For compound and bow hunter, the targets are like this. Love it. I want to say they're 60 centimeters. I can't exactly remember.
Yeah.
But they're larger than a cantaloupe.
Oh
Much.
yeah.
A couple of feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're reasonable.
Yeah.
But indoor season targets are what distance?
It's 18
18
yards.
yards.
Or
Okay.
18 yards.
18 yards. Outdoor season, what
50.
kind? 50 yards.
And then for recurve, it's 70.
70 for
Okay.
And they're at like a huge target.
It's
All right.
yeah.
Now,
It's wild.
indoor, outdoor, similar, but you're changing distances, much
Yes.
greater
Yes.
distances. Sounds progressively more difficult to me.
And
It
one
does.
thing that's really different about indoor and outdoor is outdoor, you shoot your 72 arrow score, and then they'll take your scores and seat you into like a bracket. So your first seat will go against your 16th seat or whatever. If there's only 16 people, and then you keep on going until you get a winner. So you shoot 15 arrows, and the winner goes on. The loser is done.
Right.
That's just the way it is, and you keep on doing that until you get your champion.
Very good.
Which is really cool because people can like crack under pressure, and
Sure.
the low ones will come up because
I would imagine there's
it's
a lot
great.
of pressure.
Oh yeah.
A lot of pressure. The outdoor season, when does it take place?
It's in the spring.
Okay.
It's more in
Yeah.
the spring.
Your first season is 3D?
Yes.
You're practicing now?
Yes.
We return around September 16th
And 17.
and 17th.
So the weekend of September 16th and 17th, you're in competition. That's the first.
Yes.
It's regionals and then the first leg of the Mid-South Conference because this is the first year that archery is being like a Mid-South Conference.
Where will that competition be held?
The 16th is in Barberville, and the 17th is in Williamsburg.
On
Okay.
the Cumberland's lacrosse field.
Very good. So in the area,
Yeah, it's close.
folks
yeah.
were interested,
Yeah.
It'll be the closest one.
or
Yeah.
perhaps there are high school shooters
Yeah.
out there that maybe compete on the high school level. They'd love to see what this is about.
Yeah.
Perhaps they have an interest of playing
Yeah.
at the shooting at the next level.
Right.
Then they could do that. It's Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. Today we talk about archery, one of the newest sports at the University of Pikeville. Shane Hurt, head archery coach, and Ellie Yoakum, assistant archery coach, our guest today. And we're learning a lot about archery, except how to shoot the bow. I've seen Hunger Games, and that chick can shoot the bow and arrow.
She's good.
I want her on my team,
Yes, yeah.
and I would imagine you guys would too.
Oh, we would recruit her
Where
for
do
sure.
you recruit your players from? I know high school archery is incredibly popular and the numbers are growing.
Yes.
But there are particular programs. I think we've had a state champion or two
Mm-hmm.
from within our region here. But tell us, where do you recruit for these athletes?
You can recruit there. You can recruit with the that National Archery in Schools program, and then there's something that's is growing in popularity too. It's called Scholastic 3D, and they actually shoot at 3D targets. It's more geared towards getting you to the next level of archery. It's like you're growing from that standardized bow,
Right.
and then you get up into shooting actual compound bow. So we'll go to those championships also.
And
So we'll-
also with the Scholastic, they do everything that you do in college. Like it was made to get you ready for college.
Uh-huh.
So you can shoot any kind of bow you want to. Like
Sure.
it's not the standard And then also we'll recruit out like the ASA tournaments,
We'll go
which
to
is
the
a
ASA tournaments.
3D national tournaments, and anywhere we can get our name out.
Yeah, I've got an idea for you. Deer check stations during bow hunting season.
Yeah.
That's a good place,
You know,
probably. Yeah.
You're going to find some good archers
No
at, the
doubt.
Yeah.
at the deer check
No doubt.
stations for those.
No doubt.
We talk about this because we don't know a lot about it, but you've got your first competition coming up in September, Mid-South competition, Williamsburg and Barberville. Will UPike be able to host meets, matches at any time in the future? Do you have plans to, or is that something that's a little further down the
It's
road?
probably something that's a
Yeah.
little further down the road until we can kind of get more established and get
More equipment.
more equipment and kind of get to where we're able to host one. But that is definitely something that we're going to be interested in trying to do.
Very good. Now, the practice range for archery, just to ease some fears, it is not on the University of Pikeville campus.
No.
There are not animal targets
No.
positioned around
No.
campus.
No.
That would be fun. But where's practice take place? You have a range that you can practice on.
We do have a range. It's just outside of town, just behind Buffalo Wild Wings. There's a big open field back there, and that's where we're able to practice at.
Obviously, a very safe place.
Very safe place.
Yeah.
Yes,
And,
very safe.
Let's talk about the makeup of this year's team, the first team, UPike Archery. Where do they come from? How many men? How many women?
It was 10 men and 6 women, and they've came from all over. We've got some from Pikeville, some from Prestonsburg, and then we've got from out in western Kentucky. We've got some from Lexington.
West
just a pretty good
Virginia.
mix. West Virginia. It's a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
Very
We've got
good.
It's a
16
good
total.
year.
And typically, Ellie, you come from a national championship program. How many members on the team when you were at Cumberland's, a little more experienced team?
At one point, I want to say my sophomore year, we had around 40, but at my end of my senior year, we had 24. But when Cumberland started their team, the year it was my senior year in high school, but when they started, they had 22. So I feel like 16 is a very solid number, and we'll have more athletes than some of the established schools will have. There'll be some schools that will only have 10,
Right.
8,
Sure.
5,
How many
1.
compete at a particular competition
Anywhere from 75 to 120.
per team? How
Oh.
many would compete from UPike?
I was you meant
All
at
of
the
ours will
tournaments.
compete.
Yeah.
So all 16, are
will-
able to compete?
Yes, all 16.
And then your team score is made up of a certain number of competitors?
Your team is 3, so you have 3 males, whatever division you're in.
Sure.
Yeah, your team will be made up of 3.
Yeah.
Really competitive?
Yes.
Really competitive.
Yes, very competitive. I mean, we're
Who
going
are the
against
favorites in the Mid-South?
UPike.
We would like to say you
Very good. I like your answer. I like your answer. We're learning about archery. We'd love to have you guys back real soon. Let us know how the first, is it a meet or a match?
tournament.
It's a
tournament. Okay. Should have gone simple. So check back with us after the first tournament. Let you know how you did.
Will do.
Good luck this year, and we'll be following the sport. Ellie, welcome to Pikeville.
Thank you.
Shane, great to have you here, and
Be here.
good luck, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank
You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.